What's up everyone, welcome back to a new video on the Alien Ira channel. Today we'll be going over the markets again, the usual. So with that, let's get straight into it. Today the stock market is closed, so we will be ignoring that. Let's get into the important stuff, which of course is BTC. So those levels that I pointed out in yesterday's video, where I stated after that daily close, you put that Fibonacci on top of that daily candle and you are given the levels for the next day, right? So here again we see how it held up here, and this was your logical range high. Where what did we get on those lower time frames? You got multiple reactions from it, right? So here you should see broke above it, started to roll back down, got a quick flush down, we reclaimed it again, and we went back up. See how we have been getting multiple reactions from this, and here you see a literal break. Right, where you have a clear deviation back below, a retest, and you go down. So, what did we trade into? You already should see it, that previous daily next VOC, which of course came from this part of price action. This part of price action. So this could hold in my opinion, but we do have to be cautious because the thing on a lower time frame, we do have some of the structure where you have swept liquidity on the downside and you currently are unable to get back below this, right? So this is kind of a bullish pattern where usually I point out here like this, right? Or I map out a high where I say we don't want to be seeing something like this because this is likely to reverse. Well, this is currently what we are doing here, but then just think first. Right, so this is looking quite well on those lower time frames. So this could be a little bit of a trade. But let's look at a key level to break. It would be right around here, where this point has had a lot of trading volume. So this would be a critical point for me to flip on those lower time frames. So when we look at this on the 30 minutes, yeah, it's quite clear that this is your previous low as well. So we would like to see a flip of this and then continue back up. Right? If we don't manage to hold here, because like usual, I will be preparing you for both sides. I will go into that volume chart for this. Because what did we have here? You know, the high volume and the low volume nodes going now went from the high volume straight down to that high volume again, fully slicing through that low volume. So, yet again, like what we did here, we broke, we sliced through that low volume. Now we did the opposite, right? Yeah, that high volume here, which was not holding, and we sliced straight through that low volume back into that high volume. So, this point also has been here for such a while. And this is quite crucial because we wanted to see on a higher time frame. This is that crucial area to flip, right? So we want to see price trading above this and reloading back into it, where we then can see continuation towards the upside again. But if we don't hold this level, we should logically trade into this. I already mapped it out here. Because what do we have again? We have low volume down here. So if this does not hold, we should teleport straight into here before we bounce. So, like usual, watch both scenarios and play the one that is given. So if you will be longing this, right, then a sweep and reclaim of this would still be valid. But if we get some shit like this, start to roll over a bit, now you don't want to be in this mood. So if you're longing this and we get a sweep and a reclaim of this, you should stay into that trade. But if we don't get a reclaim, get the fuck out, because then we should logically go all the way towards here. Right? So then it's better to get out of that trade, flip it, and then look for a better entry. right? So keep those things in mind. You logically have invalidations and validations for trades. So if a certain thing happens, you don't act. If this thing happens, you do act. So keep it in mind while playing this, and always keep in mind your risk management, because the strategy is not really what matters. The levels really aren't, the indicators really aren't. It's mostly risk management and mentality, right? So keep that in mind. Always use proper risk management. But with this being a high volume area, I do think this should be a logical point to trade, that if you get this long, which I do think we should be getting, but like I said, if it starts to roll over around here, I will get out. But in my opinion, we should retest this at least like again. It just looks a little too straight down for me, where we haven't had any logical retest. But of course, price can do that, but I'm more expecting some shit like this, where we retrade back into this, right? And then retest this again. This will be more logical, and if we really want to go down, I still think we should retest this and then slice through it, right? So watch this level, because it will be crucial in my opinion. So keep that in mind. Know the invalidations and know the validations. Know those setups and know how your setup is getting invalidated or getting validated. So let's get onto ETH. ETH, well, most people I do think this is like quite bearish actually. Yeah, it does look a little bit bearish if we lose this level. So as long as we hold above this, I don't really see any concerns. But when you start to lose this and you make it a resistance again, then we could maybe take out this, which would be quite painful for us to do as a last flush before everything starts sending up. While I'm saying this should sound quite logical, because the most painful scenario usually is that scenario that will play out. So, with that said, I don't want you guys to be fearful, of course, but it is looking like it, so I have to say what I see. So here we have just swept this wick, which if we hold this, it could be part of the logical backtest. What is a backtest? Well, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's conclude this to be your range, right? So your lows, you even had a previous high here. Your highs, your low again, your highs again, your low again. Your break and retest below. Look, you break back into that range, your deviation right here, and you get your retest of this level. So this does look quite good if we really can hold this. I wouldn't be that surprised if they try to retest it again before sending it up. But this is quite the same, where this was your deviation, you started chopping below it, and now you're retesting it again. So if we hold here, this is looking quite bullish. But like stated, just use those invalidations, guys, because it's quite clear how a setup is invalidated or how it is validated, right? So this is your area to look for longs. If it reclaims this, stay in. If it gets below this and does not reclaim, I will draw it again. If it starts to do some shit like this, stay in. And then you want this to be aggressive and this to be aggressive. This can slow down a little. But then these two parts should be aggressive. What don't we want to see? Some shit like this, where we start to roll over. Right? So if you see something like this, just get the fuck out of the trade and wait for lower. Or short it if you have the balls to short while a big move already happened. So keep those levels in mind. I will go onto that volume chart for ETH as well, where this is that POC, and we had a previous lower time frame range here as well, where these were your prior highs, but this is your value area high, which if we trade back into this and we see some buying pressure, could also be quite a good scenario. But note, this is only possible to get if we manage to lose this. This is why they'll use those invalidations, because if this really gets invalidated, what do you want? A better entry, right? So keep those levels in mind, and I will go over the last two charts for the day, where that ETH BTC just rejected from that blue box. We want to see it hold ideally above that 0.25, but I would also take it if it just holds these prior highs and prior lows. So currently it's looking like the weaker pair of the two, but still I'm more bullish on ETH. So what do we want to see getting cleared? That 0.25, what do we want to see hold these prior highs and lows, right? So let's get into that BTCD chart. That, like I kept saying, we want to find acceptance below this, not above this, because otherwise those alts will have a little bit more chop / downwards move. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the day, because the market is closed, the stock market at least. I won't be going over that, but I did want to point out a couple lower time frame levels and that BTC and ETH setup. So, like usual again, I hope you guys like it, and keep trading, guys. Goodbye.